Hey guys, what's happening? Welcome to the United Talk. Manchester United won Crystal Palace 3 2 years in a row. They've come to Old Trafford and they've defeated us convincingly, and they deserve to defeat us. I mean, we deserve to lose, which is the saddest thing of all. I mean, I was looking at that match, and initially my thought was, yeah, this team looks rusty. This team looks like this team hasn't had any preseason. The players are still, I mean, they don't look up for it. And then I realized, you know what, that should not be the case because we got an extended week off because of our Europa League semi-final, right? But but Wolves, who played the Europa League for quarterfinals, they went out about a week before us. But they also played their first Premier League game a week before us. They played last weekend, and they did not look rusty. So the same amount of time that we had for our preseason, Wolves had for their preseason as well. So if Wolves are not rusty, if Wolves look up for it, if we played Wolves today, we would have lost that game because they don't look rusty and we do. How's that possible? How is it possible that the two teams have the same number of days for preparation for the next season, and one team looks rusty and the other team just looks up for it? I mean, you talk about Man City. Man City are playing on Monday night. You talk about Man City. Do you think they will be rusty? Do you think Man City will not be able to perform at their very best? Yeah, they might not score 8 or 10 goals, but Man City will defeat Wolves, and they're playing against Wolves. By the way, I'm sure Man City. I don't know the prediction of the score, but I'm sure Man City will not play the way we played. They will not look as rusty as we did. Wolves did not look as rusty as we did. So I mean, I initially thought that it's because of that, but now I just think no, that cannot be the reason. This performance, this result today, is a collective defeat of the entire club because you blame the players. They've come out and they have not performed well. I mean, the players that you expect to perform well, Bruno Fernandes, Luke Shaw, right? These players haven't performed well. Anthony Martial was not up for it. He didn't get too many chances, but he was not up for it as well. Marcus Rashford, Mason Greenwood, Dan James. I mean, Dan James, I don't understand. The players who you expect to perform did not perform well. And then you start to see what quality additions do we need in that team. Because when I looked at that team and I look at the right back, Fosu Mensah, now I get it that Matic is not available. I get that Baron Van Bissaka is not available. But as a right back, Fosu Mensah is very solid defensively, but he's not great moving forward. He's just not. He's just a solid player who's a bench player who can come in and do a job for a manager. But he should not be starting games. And what I don't understand is if you don't have Van Bissaka, you have someone called a Diego Dallo in your ranks. If you don't play Diego Dallo in such situations when your first priority right back is injured, then why do you have him at the club? Why not sell him? It's been what? So the transfer window is open in the last week of July. It's been almost 1.5 months. No, almost 2 months since the transfer window has been open. And then why is Diego Dallo not being sold if he is not in the plans of Ole Gunnar Solskjaer? I refuse to believe any other story that comes out about Dallo. I mean, we all knew that we need a centre back going into the season. We all knew that. And look at Victor Lindelof, the first goal. I mean, Victor Lindelof for me was the tip or the crown of basically the worst performance that I've seen in the United in the by United in a long, long time. For the first goal, Victor Lindelof. Only thing you have to do is put your foot in. Don't let that cross come in. We slated Brandon Williams for the Sevilla goal for the Sevilla match because he let the cross come in. So we cannot just let Lindelof have this. Lindelof should have put a foot in, and it was a decent cross. It was not even a great cross or a wonderful cross. That's the worst part. And Lindelof lets that cross come in. Sure, I don't know what he was sleeping on the far post. He did not cover his man. It was a simple goal. And between all this, Harry Maguire, I mean, the ball has crossed the entire goal. Harry Maguire is supposed to be in that position. Where was Harry Maguire? Again, he's late coming into that position, into that area where he can just clear the ball. Again, this happened against Sevilla. This happened against a lot of teams last season. And again, it's a collective responsibility of the three players, Lindelof, Maguire, and Shaw. And your three experienced players. One of them is your captain. It's unbelievable. And then for the second goal, look, I'm not going to argue against VAR or the rules because rules are rules, right? We get that penalty, we will be happy because rules are rules. It did look harsh because the distance. distance of the ball from the hand was too less for Lindelof to do anything. But again, it was Lindelof right there. And then the penalty happens, Diaz saves the penalty, and again the rules come into the picture. Again, the retake of a penalty, and they score. Alright, fine. That's a little bit disheartening for players. And then the third goal. Oh my god. Wilfried Zaha. He just made a he just made Victor Lindelof look like a schoolboy defender. A schoolboy defender. I don't understand. I mean, he so easily turned Victor Lindelof inside out. So easily. He's crying out loud. He's a Manchester United defender. And I've been saying this since a long time about Victor Lindelof that I still feel that Harry Maguire and Victor Lindelof, although similar kind of players, Maguire has better attributes than Lindelof because of his height, because of his strength, and all those things. So we need someone to play alongside Harry Maguire. Victor Lindelof is just not good enough. He's just not good enough. He's at best a defender should come out from the bench. He's a decent defender. I'm not slating Lindelof here, but I'm kind of am actually because he's a decent defender. But if he does those kind of things on the pitch, where he cannot protect the cross from coming in, where he cannot just. And by the way, Wilfred Zaha was like on the edge of the box when he took that shot. Edge of the box. You gotta do better than that. I'm sorry. Luke Shaw was, like I said, Luke Shaw was horrible. Maguire, as usual, very, very slow. And in the center defensive midfield area, when you cannot play Matic, McTominay did not have a good game, and I mean, I've said before that I thought McTominay can be molded into a CDM, but it doesn't look likely anymore. And it doesn't look likely. I'm sure Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is watching these players every day in training. If Fred can do that role better than McTominay, then why not play Fred, right? I think that's something that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer got it wrong. You talk about Dan James playing. I mean, if Greenwood was fit enough to play 50 or 60 minutes, he should be playing from the start because he did come at halftime, right? So why not in the first half? Because I think for me, Dan James, he's good when the teams are attacking us and we need to hit them on the counter attack when there's space and behind the defenders. Again, it was a low block. It was a low block. They were parking the bus when they were defending. So Dan James is kind of useless in those situations. And again, all these points, I mean, I can talk about each and every individual player, but all these points just emphasize on one thing only. How much do we need the strength in depth of the squad? I mean, we have a huge squad, but we need to sell and we need to buy. If Luke Shaw doesn't have a good game, we don't have a left back. If Van Bissaka is not fit, we don't have a right back. I mean, we do have a right back that the manager doesn't prefer. There's literally no competition for places in that center defensive role, in the center defender role for Maguire and Lindelof. Who knows why Eric Bailly doesn't start every game if he's fit instead of Lindelof? And even if he does start, he's not who's going to be like a short, no nonsense defender who we need. There's Tonzibi is always injured. Let's see what he's going to do this season. But we need a defender. We need a defender. You know what? If you cannot buy a defender this season, I've changed my mind. If you cannot buy a defender this season, keep Chris Smalling. Play Smalling instead of Lindelof. At least Smalling will do the basics right. That's how much I trust Smalling. At least he'll be better than Lindelof. I'm sorry, I've lost it with Lindelof. I had enough of Lindelof. You look at attack. I mean, Rashford. I don't know what's wrong with Rashford. It's since the lockdown got over and he started playing from June. He's just not been himself. Martial did not have any service. Bruno Fernandes for me was very, very bad. And for me, Bruno plays very deep. I don't know why Bruno has started playing so deep. He should be playing those 1-2 touch footballs at the edge of the box, at the edge of the opposition box. He plays too deep for me. I don't know why. What's wrong? Pogba plays too deep, but if Pogba's position is to play too deep, and you push Bruno forward. For me, Bruno moves a lot. Bruno goes to the left, goes to the right, comes too deep. I don't like it. Let Bruno play in the area where he can cause the most destruction in and around the box. Let him play there. He can take shots from there. He can give passes from there. He can be creative from there. Let him play there. Why does he come so deep? I don't understand. I really don't understand. And like I was saying before, it emphasizes on how much quality depth in squad we need. I mean, we need a left back for sure. We need a right back if Diego Dallo isn't in the plans of Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. We need a centre back. We need a central defensive midfielder because when Matic isn't fit, who else plays there? We need a right winger for sure. I mean, there's so many places. The only place that we have covered in terms of quality replacement is attacking midfield in Donny van de Beek. That's the only position. And if you talk about priority, for me right now, the priority, I mean, I've changed my mind. We do need a right winger. But before that, I think we need a centre back. Or, I mean, it's equal priority, centre back and right winger. Because otherwise, this is just, it's horrible. The display is horrible. And the fact is, like I said before, this is a collective loss for the club. The manager needs to take responsibility as to why Fred didn't start instead of McTominay. The manager needs to take responsibility as to why Greenwood didn't start instead of Dan James. And even if they didn't, I think Pogba, he was not having a good game. Pogba had a horrible game. So Pogba should have been replaced at half time or at 55th minute. I mean, so many times he gave the ball away. In the initial 1 or 2 minutes only, Pogba had two fouls. McTominay had two fouls. I mean, that set the tone of the game, didn't it? So Pogba should have come off, right? McTominay should have come off, and Dan should have come off, Dan James. And Dan James did come off for Greenwood at half time. But Pogba also came off, but I think he should have come off before, a lot earlier. I mean, on the pitch, it's ridiculous if three of our first 11 don't play: Van Bissaka, Matic, and Greenwood. Look how we perform. And I refuse to believe the fact that we've not had enough pre-season underway because Wolves have had the same amount of time like us, like we have. So I refuse to believe that. How are they looking so fresh, so energetic, so ready for the new season, and we aren't? And look, something has to be done about these personal issues that some of the players have been going through. Like for example, now you know that Harry Maguire had personal issues off the field, which is still going on. They are still going on. It's going to play in his head. So you need someone to fill in so that Harry Maguire, if required, can be rested. Because his personal issues, I mean, it's a big issue. If something like that happens to any one of us, it's a big issue. You look at Mason Greenwood and what happened with him. He's just a kid. He's 18 years old, man. He's just a kid. You need a replacement there. You look at what happened with Paul Pogba, a serious, serious illness. I mean, a deathly illness. And he came out of it, thankfully. But then again, it does impact your performance, especially when you've just been training for a week. I mean, I don't understand. I mean, what is the United Board doing? It's a collective responsibility. This loss is a collective responsibility of everyone, including the manager, including the players. But the biggest culprits for me, when you look at the tree, when you look at the tree and you look at how green the leaves are and how beautiful the tree is with some flowers at the top, it's because of the roots. The roots are good of that tree. They're strong. They've been given enough water, manure, whatever. If you look at United's roots, our root is basically the root problem is basically the board and the glazers. They just don't do enough. I mean, it's a, riddle me this: how can we predict, or how can we imagine, or how can we want to finish fourth or third when in the transfer window we've actually finished eighth or tenth? Because what I mean is, with respect to transfers coming in and going out, our business has been at max mid-table, right? Mid-table side. So how can we imagine that by doing almost no business, only getting one player in? How can we imagine that we'll improve when you already have teams like Liverpool and Man City who are so far ahead of you, and they themselves are improving? Even though Liverpool won the Champions League and the Premier League in 2 seasons, they're still improving. They still got Thiago, one of the best midfielders in the world right now. They still got a cover for left back. They still got Diogo Jota, because Mane could be injured, Salah could be injured, Firmino could be injured. They still got Diogo Jota. So if Liverpool can improve, Man City improves every year. They've already bought Ferran Torres, they've already bought Nathan Ake, they might buy another centre back as well. Chelsea, let's not even talk about it. They've just bought everyone out there. Arsenal have bought players. They kept Aubameyang. Spurs are buying players. Forget Spurs. I'm sorry. Leeds United. Look at the way Leeds United play. I mean, Leeds United have scored 7 goals in 2 games. They lost 4-3 to Liverpool and won. What? How did they win? 4-3? Yeah, they lost 4-3 to Liverpool and they won 4-3 against whoever they played. 4-3. I think they played Fulham. 4-3 they played. So they've scored 7 goals. If Leeds United tomorrow come out and play United at Old Trafford, they're going to defeat us. They're going to rip us apart. It's that bad. But look, this is like I said, this is not an overreaction. This is not something that okay, we lost one game, so everything is over. No, it's not like that. But the thing is, you could see this coming because of the lack of transfer activity. You could see this coming because there's so many players who have had personal problems in this summer, right? In their personal lives. So something needs to be done. And the fact of the matter is, you need a centre back. You need a right winger. Jadon Sancho today in this game wouldn't have mattered. Jadon Sancho in this game wouldn't have mattered because there was no one giving the ball to these forward players. So you need a centre back, whether it's Upamecano, whether it's Badiashile, whoever it is, spend the money, get the centre back man. Seriously, I mean, it's a trend. Every time we get into the Champions League, we stop spending, and then every time we get into, someone told me the stat. Every time we qualify for the Champions League, our net spend is around 70 to 80 million. And every time we don't qualify for the Champions League or we end up in the Europa League, our net spend is actually 160 million. What does that tell you? What that tells you is basically the board is like an Arsenal board now, who's happy to be in top four, who considers top four as a trophy. And I'm sorry, you cannot do that. You cannot be in the top four when all the other top four contenders are improving regularly. Then you will not be in the top four. Arteta is doing a good job. Mourinho has got players at Spurs. Chelsea, Liverpool, Man City are too far ahead of us. And Everton, by the way, we lose to Everton if we play like this. Everton have such a good team. They have a world-class manager. They have such a good team. Leeds, like I mentioned, Wolves, wow, Leicester. All these teams can easily defeat us. All these teams can easily come along and have a very good game at Old Trafford or even away from home. It's just it's disheartening really because I mean where do you go from here? From here, I think even if you lose the next 4 or 5 games, the blame, although it will be shared, it should not be on Ole Gunnar Solskjaer because Ole Gunnar Solskjaer might be a naive coach. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer might not be, and he is not Jurgen Klopp or Pep Guardiola or Jose Mourinho or anyone like that. He's not. But you know what? He's learning. He's doing some good things. He did make us finish third last season. You cannot just forget that easily, that quickly. The blame has to be in the right direction. The blame has to be on the Glazers, on the board. And the last video I spoke about, you know, any kind of boycott. And I've started my bit. I'm not going to buy any new merchandise this season till the time I don't see enough transfer activity. And that doesn't mean that I don't support Manchester United. I breathe Man United. I die for Man United. You know, I don't live in UK. So for me, I actually stay up late nights to actually watch the matches. And there are so many millions of fans like me who do that. Why? Because we love the club. We love the club from the core. We breathe Manchester United. So all we want is good for Manchester United. We want them to win trophies again. This board, I mean, some people were talking about sacking Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. I mean, that is the most idiotic argument I've heard in the last 24 hours, the last 12 hours after the game. Because you sack Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, right? If you lose the next 4 games, you sack Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. You get Pochettino in, you get Allegri in, right? The two most, I don't know, anyone in like that, right? You get these managers in. What's going to happen? You might win a few games. You might get into the Champions League places next season, and then again they will not be backed in the transfer window. They will not be backed, and then again when they will not be backed, they'll again slip up, and then be sacked again. And I'm saying that because you look at David Moyes, right? After Sir Alex Ferguson left, you look at David Moyes. He was not backed. Louis Van Gaal was not backed, and he came out and said this publicly that he was not backed. You look at Jose Mourinho. He wanted a defender. He didn't get a defender. He wanted Ivan Perisic. He didn't get Ivan Perisic. He wasn't backed. Now Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has not been backed. That's the fourth manager we've had in 7 years. Fourth manager in 7 years. And you sack this manager. You get a new one, and you think it's going to change. You know what? Let's do one thing. Let's stop chopping and changing the managers for 1 second. And now let's change the board. Let's change the owners. I know we cannot really do that, but we can demand that. At least we can demand that. Because we've tried changing the manager and it hasn't worked. It just hasn't worked. It's time for us to change the board. or demand to change the board and the owners. They're sucking money out of this club. They're sucking money out of this club. They took 90 million out in dividends in the last 5 years. 90 million. And no other club in the Premier League has done that. No other club. Can you believe it? So I think what's important is to realize that this is only one game. But the thing is, we all kind of, I mean, we would have been happy if we would have won today. But this shows the reality. This is the reality check where Manchester United is, and whether you can blame it on the manager and on the players. The real blame should be given, should be thrown upon to the owners and to the board. Look, we have a game in week in the cup game. If Ole Gunnar Solskjaer thinks that we don't have enough preseason, then play your first team there. Treat that game as a preseason game. But if you think that they need rest, give them rest and don't play them at all. But don't come out with conflicting arguments that saying, oh, we didn't have enough preseason, but oh, we also need to rest players. Why do you need to rest players in the beginning of the season? It's the fucking beginning of the season. I'm sorry for swearing, but that's what it is. It's the beginning of the season. Either treat that game as a preseason game because it's against Luton Town, if I'm not wrong, or rest your first team and make sure they're ready for the next Premier League game against Brighton. And then we have Tottenham at home. We have Tottenham at home. Anyway, guys, if you're new to the channel, please don't forget to subscribe and hit that like button. Take care, and I'll talk to you soon.